50 is a frightening milestone for the best of us, but if you're Shah Rukh Khan and at the top of your game, is it a watershed or is it just another birthday? I'm very pleased to introduce one of my most favorite film stars, and not because of his films, though I shouldn't say that, but because of his razor sharp wit and his outspoken mind. Many happy returns. What does it feel like to be 50?
Thank you. First of all, I'm most thrilled to be interviewed by my favorite journalist, and beyond journalism, just a wonderful friend. So thank you. And we should meet more often.
We should.
Yeah.
And not just
for interviews and stuff like that. It feels good. It feels the same.
Not scary?
Not scary at all, actually. Even better, because you start knowing if you have lasted so long, 50 years, not professionally. If you can live for 50 years, आगे 50 साल. ऐसा एक कहानी थी, मैं बताता हूँ आपको. एक बहुत बड़े शायर थे और वो बहुत बदमाश थे. तो वो हर तरह से उल्टी सीधी बातें करते थे लोगों से. तो एक उनको पहलवान मिला और उसकी नाक कटी हुई थी फाइट्स की वजह से. तो उसने आके बोला, भाई कैसे चल रही है? तो उन्होंने बोला, कुछ कट गई है, कुछ कट जाएगी. एंड द होल आइडिया इज अबाउट लाइफ. इतनी सारी कट गई तो बाकी भी कट जाएगी. आई थिंक 107, 109. Yeah.
So clearly not scared of mortality.
Not at all, not at all. That's why I keep jumping up and standing on railings and stuff at all. Not at all. I'm not scared of mortality at all.
How do you explain that? Because in the previous times you've spoken, you have actually spoken about losing your father and the impact that had on you. And sometimes when you go through a cataclysmic event like that, you become acutely conscious of your own mortality, of your own longevity.
You know, that's why I'm not scared of mortality. Because when you lose so many in one family, then it's a खुदा भी ऐसा चुन के करता होगा ना, इनके दो तो चले गए यार अब इतना, so he'll leave us for some time. I'm really not scared of it because I've seen death from so up close that it doesn't scare me anymore. I'm not being pompous, I'm not challenging death. People get very disturbed. Oh, don't say that, bite your tongue. ऐसा सुन लेंगे खुदा और गलत हो जाएगा. But I have no fear of aging or dying, or I think I'll be alright. I think I'll be alright. I genuinely believe that with a lot of confidence.
Why do you not have the fear of aging? You're essentially in an industry that's a vanity industry, and you know, people will constantly deconstruct how you look, what your new look is like. Are you looking good? Are you looking bad? Are you looking old? So when you hit 50, do you worry just a little bit?
I was driving back my kids to the airport just now. I dropped them, and I was like, यार मुझे बड़ा awkward सा लग रहा है यार, ये कुछ 50, and you know, 50, it's a landmark, it's a milestone. I don't think it's a milestone at all. I mean, then 21, and then 18, then 40, and then 50, and then 75, and then 100. I mean, it's just a way, I think, for us to celebrate having survived, not really celebrate life itself. If you celebrate life, I don't think you count the years. And as far as like if I was to go today, I'd die happy. It's as simple as that. And when you talk about in the film industry, it's very cheesy. But yeah, I'm like fine wine. I become cooler, sexier with age. And I'm not being arrogant. I feel so. So I'm sorry.
You said in your recent sort of address at Edinburgh something that really leapt out at me. And you said, being normal is overrated. Normal is just another word for lifeless. So let's first establish that you're not normal.
I'm not
That's
normal.
cool, nor am I.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now that we've agreed on that, does your eccentricity scare you? Does it ever make you feel like a misfit? Do you look around and say, I don't fit in?
I've become more aware of it because of my children. Because sometimes I see them exchange glances behind my back. So I'll say something like, you know what, we should do this. And it's a strange suggestion. And they'll go,
rolling their eyes.
And they roll eyes, and I'm like, why are you guys doing this? Nothing, Papa, nothing. I think they find me a little abnormal. And I don't think I do things abnormally just for the sake of being abnormal. I have always tried to be just myself. So sometimes I'll joke like this, I'll say something, or you know, even in my work, I'll just take on something which people tell me very often, yaar ye mat karo bhi yaar, ye nahi chalega. So I said, just for that, let's take it. You know, when I was making, just going back, when I was making Ravan, there's a company called Omax, and they were sitting down and telling us which other films watched in the order in Indian market. A science fiction was 0.1% in the ratings, and then of course love story and action and family drama, which is what I do. And so everybody just sat here. It's expensive film, and I said, "Ab to karenge hi karenge yaar." So that's a little abnormal, or that's a little risky. I don't know. You're taking a risk or a chance. But if you live normally, I think it's extremely boring, and especially at this stage when so much has been given to me in 25 years. I'd be ungrateful to God if I lived normally. It'll be stupid to have a normal life. It'll be silly to be regular.
You said madness is a prerequisite for creativity.
Absolutely.
So what's the most mad thing about you that we don't know? Other than the fact that you don't sleep, but I don't think that's particularly
No,
mad.
that's not very mad. I don't know. I think it's maybe a ladylike thing to do, which is a nice thing. I think I cry when I'm very happy, and I smile a lot when I'm very, very sad. So that's why you see me mostly smiling. And
That's implying that you're more often sad than happy.
you know, you got to be at this stage and place, and I keep saying it. And it's not that I'm lonely and I'm like, oh my God, nothing is happening, and this is, and I'm not romanticizing it. You know, you're only working, you're judged for everything that you do, you're called upon to comment on everything that you don't even know about, but you need to sound smart. And you know, a thing goes wrong, and there are a lot of people who are dependent on you when you are the lead star of a film or a producer. So there are a lot of things that you can't explain to people, you know. And I remember Sonny Liston, and I saw an interview in a book of Muhammad Ali, who's I'm a greatest fan of Bruce Jenner and Muhammad Ali, who's become Caitlyn Jenner now.
Yes.
So it's a little, that also my daughter rolls her eyes when I tell her, I love this guy, and she's like, Papa, you can't say that now.
He's not a guy anymore.
He's not a guy anymore,
Yeah.
which is cool too. But like, you know, Sonny Liston, when he got defeated by Muhammad Ali was a fast talking, cool talking, I'm the greatest and stuff like that. And you know, finally one guy asked him that, why don't you say anything? You know, he just made very monosyllabic sounds. I said, you know, why don't you say something? He said, when so much has happened to you in life that you can't express it, you don't have enough words to say it. So that's why I'm quiet and he speaks a lot. Not much has happened to him in life. So when you're at this stage, work-wise, personally, every which wise, you know, this is quite an unbelievable journey that I've had. I myself feel sometimes, "Ye to ud jaunga main ek baar." One day somebody will wake me up and I'll say, "Arey, yeah, that was really nice," and I'm in Gautam Nagar in Delhi, and on my cycle, Atlas cycle, and go out. But it's so much has happened that, you know, finally you just start caving in, holding it back, and say like, "Abhi main kaise samjhaun yaar ye? मैंने इसलिए नहीं किया था." There's so many reasons, you know. I read on Twitter, I read everywhere. इसकी collection ये है, उसकी collection है. मुझे खुद नहीं मालूम किसकी collection क्या है. And I've not worked for that. Manipulative है, नहीं ये marketing genius है. No, ये entrepreneur है, नहीं ये अच्छा actor, नहीं वो स्वदेश में. There's so much said. So you like make so many comments on you.
Is that claustrophobic?
It's not claustrophobic. You don't know how to counter each one, and you say, let's just be with myself, and you know, can't explain most of the stuff that's being said, and just keep quiet and get up in the morning, go for work like a regular guy, except for the fact that I wear makeup.
I have a feeling more guys wear makeup these days than we know.
I noticed that, you know. I've walked into a couple of parties lately from the shoot straight, and I was like, oh damn, I've not taken off my makeup. And then I see a few guys, I say, oh, they must be also coming for shooting. Oh, they just love to wear makeup.
You know, you once told me that I don't have friends, and I talk to my daughter, and she's my best friend. And because I've known you a while, this doesn't startle me, but the people who saw you just now waving to your fans outside the house, you're loved by a mass. How is somebody who's loved by a mass of people, who plays this sort of romantic hero, who's the dimply cutie boy on screen, who smiles to hide his sadness, how does he at 50 not have friends?
I'm just, I don't know how to keep relationships going, I think.
Why?
I had so many acquaintances and friends, and then along the way I've lost them. It can't be all their faults. It has to be mine. So maybe I just don't know how to keep relationships going. And like I said, you know, my daughter was younger then when I said this to you. So she didn't understand much of what I said. I need a friend who doesn't understand what I'm saying and doesn't tell me what to do. So now Abraham is my best friend. So I talk to him and I say, I'm here. So I'm like, yeah, this is my best friend. So I guess I can't make friends because friends speak too much and tell me too much about myself. And I've never had friends. I've got 3 old friends from school, a few here maybe, but I don't know. Whenever I feel the need to somehow attach myself to something, the only attachment I have is the people. And
But the people as an amorphous mass.
Wherever I go, if I go to the mall and there are 40 people, you know, wanting to hold me. I went to the airport just now, there are 30 people taking selfies with me. I'd like them then. And that's why I am actually very kind and nice to them, because they fulfill perhaps the space for friends that I have. But I don't know how to be friends, I'll be really honest. I don't have, like, I can't call and say, so how are you, what's happening, da, da, da. I can't do all that. I don't know how to do that. I don't use my phone. And then slowly, they just peter out, they just move away, I think. I'm at fault, I've been told.
And is that, you know, birthdays actually mean almost nothing except that they become a time for stock taking. So when you do stock taking either about this personality trait of yours or about your movies, are you saying today, okay, 50 years of my life have gone by and there's this one thing I'd really like to change about myself?
And will it be the friend thing?
No, I'm just asking you, is there anything you'd like to really change about yourself?
No, but in a very small way, I wish I hadn't done a couple of jumps which have hurt me. So that's a little bit of a pain. So I find myself held back, not being able to do the stuff that I would love to do.
Because of the injuries and the
yeah,
surgeries.
At 50 I can do all that. I have the strength and energy which everyone talks about. But sometimes a little injury holds me back. So I wish I hadn't done that one jump, but this jump I did years ago. So it's like really silly that I could rewind time and change that. But there's nothing else I would change, nothing else.
You're quite self-deprecating about your own work, you know, especially going through again that Edinburgh speech. You're actually chronicling your own life through the movies you've done, and it doesn't sound like you have a pretty high opinion of what you've done. I mean, you're mocking it gently, but you're mocking it. So at 50, are you feeling that whole pressure that now you're 50, Shah Rukh, do some meaningful cinema?
No, I'm very serious about my work, but I don't take my work seriously that it overpowers me. I don't want to, I said this, I don't want to live for posterity and, you know, this is something that I've created. I've always believed the self-deprecation happens because there's a thing I learned and I truly believe in it. The art is important, the artist is not. So I can make fun of me and I'm all right about it. But you put me in a spot, you put me in a place, you put me on a set, you put me on a stage and say, you got to perform like this, I'll do it. I'll do my best. I'm an actor and I think I've honed my technique to a certain level now over the years and I can deliver about 50% to 60% on a good day what a director wants or an audience wants, maybe not 100% every time. And I'm very, very sure of that. I take that very seriously. I don't take myself seriously. I take the art very seriously. I don't take the artist seriously. So I can make fun of it. And when you say meaningful roles,
no, in quotes.
Yeah, all my roles are very meaningful. To some person or the other, they'll be meaningful. They're meaningful to me. You know, Barkha, what's happened is there are so many market forces and thought processes and so many things people tell you, ab aise kar do yaar. So बीच में मुझे हुआ था 8-9 साल पहले when people are saying अरे यार तू romantic picture ही करता जा रहा है. So I said okay, I'll do an Ahsoka. And that kind of went wrong box office wise. Not for me, I think it's a beautiful film. Not for me, I love the films that I've done. And then somebody said नहीं आप यार वो किंग वाली पिक्चर नहीं, आप पोलो की टी-शर्ट पहन के डांस करो ना, अच्छा लगता है, कुछ होता है ना. So I'm like okay, then I did something else and that became चक दे became आप ना this type picture करो ना जो एक relevance होता है जिसके अंदर एक बात होती है तो ऐसा होगा. Then I did Swades somewhere and every yaar wo chali nahi yaar pura, you know, Shah Rukh finished. And I'm not saying it doesn't affect me. It affects me. It affects me and it was affecting me. Ki ye karun ki wo karun ki ye karun ki. The two things I did. I stopped watching films, mine and other people's, unless I'm really told this is a fantastic film, including my own. And the second thing I did is that I will only do films for myself. And like I've said this before in a show, but I was talking to you for the 4 reasons. So now I've really decided, मुझे अच्छी लगेगी ना. I feel
Tan, Man, Dhan and the fourth that can't be named.
Fourth can't be said, though. It's Voldemort. Cannot be talked about.
We can make intelligent guesses, but
yeah. It rhymes with with Tan and Man.
Okay.
Fun kid. Okay. Fun car ho tum. But I really like. Suddenly I wake up one day and my film is, and I get bored with films. After working in it, once I think I've cracked it, in whichever sense, as an actor, I'm like, abhi khatam karta hu main isko. And then I think of, what do I feel like being now? And then I'm feeling like being comic. I'll do a comic film. I feel like pushing myself and doing something as strange as Fan, which was really a lot of hard work.
But there, like, you know, you're playing a fan of Shah Rukh. So you are, there's you playing that character and there's you, the real person, as a character in that film. So that means you have to actually step out of your body and be able to look at Shah Rukh Khan and through the eyes of a fan, right? What do you see? Very
schizophrenic, very strange experience, because what I learned is a fan likes to believe that you believe what he believes, and therefore there is a belief between this attachment. There's no other reason. There is no other reason. Like, I have never been a fan of anyone. When I've liked people, I've assumed कि when I met Mr. Michael Jackson, I see him, तो मैं उसको hi बोलूँगा तो पहचान लेगा मुझको यार. He's not seeing me. So I just said hello, and there's this whole कि मैं तो जानता हूँ आपको. And this strange belief that a fan has is, I don't know how it's genuinely close to faith and belief. You know, it's got nothing to do with कि मैं प्यार करता हूँ, like करता हूँ, मुझे बड़ा मजेदार लगता है. It's belief. It's belief. ये मेरे को जानता है, मैं इसकी तरह हूँ या मैं इसकी, ये मेरी तरह है बस. And it was very awkward for me to play it because, fortunately, in a strange sense, before I became a fan, I became a star. You know, I should have been a fan of someone, but I joined films, and before I could do my fandom, I'm a superstar. And so I've never been a fan really. And to do that was, it really hollowed me out. One of the few films, and you know, people who are making the film, Manish and everyone, they're genuinely my fans. They came from Delhi because they were Shah Rukh hai to hum bhi aayenge, and they're very proud of it. And many times he'd turn around and he said, roll camera, action, and I'll do a line ki, for example, from the trailer, the line is, connection bhi na badi ajeeb cheez hai, kisi ke saath bhi ho sakta. Nahi sir, ye Shah Rukh wali baat nahi hai. He said, but main Shah Rukh hu yaar. Nahi sir, wo hamare Shah Rukh wali baat nahi hai. So tumhara Shah Rukh kaun sa hai? Sir, वो कुछ कमाल करता था सर इसके साथ. So it's very odd that I'm trying to play me for someone who thinks of me differently like Manish. So it was really, and then I turn around, मैं बाजीगर का dialogue कर रहा हूँ, बाजीगर का, my own dialogue, where I say 15 साल से जो खून मेरी माँ की आंखों में आंसू बन कर रस्ता. नहीं सर, नहीं. I said, but I did it. It's my dialogue. I'm doing the exact. So नहीं सर, वो बात नहीं आ रही है सर.
So their reality actually sort of outpaces your own reality or perception of yourself.
It's a perception of me which I also don't understand. So then I have to actually, to be myself, I have to be what they think I am. And I mean, they're directors and they
What do
really
you
will.
think you are?
I don't think much of myself here. I don't spend time thinking about myself. I just do. I'm a doer. Like I was telling you, I'm a lover, not a dater. I just do. I just go ahead and you know, just go ahead and do the stuff. I have not thought about myself. It's very awkward for me to sit down and say, I write. I've told you about my book. So I write a little and I get instances and I make them funny and I know it was nice. But in, you know, thinking about it years later, they're funny and they're sweet because now I've done very well for myself. So I can sit back. I was saying, don't be a philosopher unless you're rich. So I can philosophize because I've done well for myself materially. But otherwise, I've never thought much of myself. Not in physically or mentally or emotionally. And I think that's the best way to be. Just do and things will turn out right.
One of the things you just said is we're called to comment on all kinds of things and we have to sound intelligent. I would put it to you differently. I would say that your industry actually doesn't speak enough. You're one of the few people who does. Every time you do, you land yourself in some sort of mess. But you're rare for that. This industry that you work in, if I compare it to a Meryl Streep or a George Clooney or a Matt Damon, whom I see taking extremely political positions, and I don't mean party politics, but political positions in the deepest sense. Why don't we see that here? Why do we see such reticence from you guys? And I exempt you because I know you have often stated your mind, but why is there a general fearfulness?
And yes, often I've come to you and said I would not like to speak on this because I'll get into trouble.
And then I promptly land you in trouble.
And you said, no, you've been very kind and said, okay, then I'll let you be. And I respect that. But, you know, I'll mention both the things. In the West, I think opinions are respected. In our country, and I'm not trying to belittle our country in any which way, or see, I have to explain everything.
Don't qualify, it's okay.
Okay, all right. So, just speaking my mind, I think opinion is taken with a little more aggression if it's not agreeing with yours. We don't have debates and discussions. We take sides. We need to prove a point. I'm like black and white. There's no, क्या बोल रही तू यार? अच्छा बरका, तेरे को ऐसा लग रहा, I don't know, you have a point, but I still stick to mine because I believe in this. If your point is not in agreement with me, we are a little intolerant about things. No, it can't be. But why can't we just listen to me? You know, I just want to say this is another, no. ये ऐसा है, क्योंकि ऐसा है. So there is a belief system which overpowers your thought process for discussion or listening to others. हम सुनते ही नहीं दूसरे की बात यार. हम सुनते ही नहीं है दूसरे की बात. And I notice so many journalists too on television. सुन तो लो क्या बोल रहा है. They also don't listen. You know, like, अरे यार अच्छा ठीक है, okay, sorry. You say what you have to, and I just listen and go back home. Thank you very much. So many a times when you talk about this quality that I may also have adhered to is, if I say something, are you going to listen to it with sensibility? And you know, it's like a kid. Or if I'm not going to be heard with sensibility, or at least a chance for discussion, and if you're going to say, no, this is wrong, and because you're wrong, I'm going to stone you. So I'm like, okay, listen, you're silly, and you're stupid, and I'm not thinking I'm more intelligent than you, but I don't want to get in with this, because if I wanted to fight, we'll come and fight. That's a different thing. But here we're having a discussion. I think it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and I don't know if I can speak for others, but I have a feeling a lot of people in the film industry feel that way. I heard Bachchan Saab say that once. I'm saying that. And I'm honestly, I don't speak my mind often enough because I worry that for no reason my 3-day shooting will get cancelled, my film will get stopped, and I'm not saying I'm vulnerable and I'm scared, I can take it on, but there are a lot of people attached. My business is the cinema.
But aren't some things more important than the business of that Friday release, you know? And you have taken positions, right? I remember you're saying very strongly that Pakistanis should be allowed to play in the IPL. You had the Shiv Sena hounding you for that. I mean, I remember, because I remember being the center of it all, we spoke about it on television. You now fast forward to the city that we're in today, where I think it's a crying shame that every time there's anything associated with visiting Pakistanis, you have Ghulam Ali's concert shut down, you have Sudhindra Kulkarni smeared with oil and ink, you have a Pakistani co-star in your upcoming film. Are you going to stand up and say and speak for her right to be part of this industry, or are you going to kowtow to the Shiv Sena?
The fact that she's in my film means I have no, I think it should be, not, the word is not allowed. Whichever space and place starts questioning its creative people, at whatever level, as writers, as authors, as journalists, as filmmakers, as poets, I think they're going to get a huge lashback, because creative minds are finally going to write stuff, and which is going to affect the society in a big way. So whoever is doing it, whoever takes a stand like this against creative people, it is so silly not to have you know, creative, I mean, what have they got to do? The politics of states, politics of two countries, they can be handled by the politician, and they're doing it, I'm sure, to the best of their ability or their own agendas, and they will continue to do so. How does an artist, this intercultural exchange of two countries which was same, I mean, that's also one point that I'm like, it used to be same some years back, man. So allow it. And how does that change or affect, you know, our religion cannot be defined and show respect to by our meat-eating habits. It is, how banal and silly is that? And, you know, you make a big thing about it. You make a huge thing about it. And someone like me, I don't want to even comment on it, not only because I'll get into trouble, but my thing is, ki kya baat kar rahe ho yaar, ye matlab itna
But you've already commented on it. You're saying it's absurd that we live in a country where beef eating can cause violence and death.
And how is that respecting one religion and disrespecting the other? I mean, the whole point is, you know, like I give this example, my house, you know, do what you want to, follow your own religion. My kids came back one day from school and, you know, they were a little confused, are we Hindus or Muslims? And I said, put in Christians. It doesn't make a difference. I mean, how does it make, I mean, we're all there, and I'm from an Irish brother Christian school and Catholic school, and I know that stuff too. I've read it, I read those stories out to my kids, and from the Quran, and from the Ramayana, and from the Mahabharata. I'm not saying I'm extremely secular, but it's never been questioned in a house. And if it can't be questioned in a house like this, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make India sound like me, but I'm from Delhi, I work in Mumbai, I live in Mumbai, I go and play cricket in Kolkata, my wife is a Punjabi, my mother's from Hyderabad, my dad was from Pakistan, and we live quite happily ever after in a house. So why can't we do that in the country also? Even if it's small units, 4, 4, 8, 8, 7 like this, do it to your neighbor. I sit with my neighbor, I don't know what religion this is, what meat he eats, what food he eats, whether he has vegetable or not. And it's all right when I meet him to hug him, whatever he eats. And why should that start defining a discipline which is much more major a reason for being created than the food habits of people?
But is it frightening to you as a product of this syncretic background that today this country is trapped in battles over cow meat and whether Mumbai should ban a certain kind of meat during a certain kind of festival, that there is violence attached to this? This is no longer an academic debate. I mean, you know, the current raging debate is intolerance. And do you believe that there is rising intolerance? Do you believe we live in an environment where it is getting tougher and tougher to just say something and not be attacked and not be assaulted for it?
I think the one reason for it also, the platforms have increased. Maybe there were enough similar attacks then, but there were not enough platforms for us to hear the voice. Now there's social media, there's television has become much bigger, radio, and everyone is speaking. Everybody's talking. Everybody has a right to talk and put it out there. So I think maybe it might have been there earlier. That's one of, I hope so. That is not something, it's not a modern phenomena, it's not a recent phenomena. I'm assuming, chalo yaar, pehle bhi aisa tha, lekin sunai nahi tha. Now you hear it a lot more. Second part of it is, yeah, I think just because you can hear it a lot more, like in my case, I think we should speak a little more sensibly. I think we should be a little more tolerant. We should give each other some leeway. And what each other, yaar, you know, you living in a country, I'll be very honest, and I know how strange it sounds, but if this, our country, we keep on talking about religion, we're going to go back to the dark ages. There is nothing less important than religious intolerance. It cannot be, it's shocking to me. It is shocking to me. I can't imagine, yes, and people tell me, maybe in smaller towns, the way people are brought up, it's different, blah, blah, blah. But I meet people from everywhere. Maybe from the place I am in, not enough. But I still meet people. Yeah, of course, you can make their way of thinking different by, public speaking or being larger than life and, changing mindsets. But I don't think religion, intolerance is any which way forward for any country. I think it's the worst kind of thing that can happen, and intolerance of any kind. And now we're looking at such small issues. And like you said, these are not small issues, if it's leading to violence.
They're small, but they're leading to violence, and death and murder.
It's really, really shocking. I mean, and how do Indians go and show their face, when I'm outside and people say, you guys don't do this? And I'm not saying that's what defined my country, because I can tell you 1 million things which define my country beyond this intolerant part. But when somebody's asking you, you've got to answer it, and it doesn't augur well for for us as Indians, to go and even in a joke answer them. No, yeah, it's some little guys who are doing. That's all you do. What answer do you give to this? You certainly don't become serious about it, because I'd rather talk about India in a manner which India really deserves to be spoken about.
And India's image is being hurt in the world. Though that's not the primary reason to change it. We have to change it for
change it for us. We don't have to change it because of the imagery is okay. The imagery will be bettered or lessened by different things. But I think if we don't change it for ourselves, it's dangerous for us. It's dangerous for all of us Indians. Yeah.
You said that not being secular is the biggest crime for a patriot. What do you mean by that?
See, either you love your country or you love your country in parts, however that partition is considered in your head, whether it's state-wise, whether it's religion-wise, whether it's region-wise, whether it's language-wise. If I'm a patriot, I love my country from top to bottom, from either side to either side. I can't suddenly say, "Meko na ye area ka ho na, ye area sahi lagta hai mujhko." Yes, of course, you love your house a little more than somebody else's, so clean it up, wash it, make it look nice, and be welcoming to people who want to come to your house. But do not question the fact that that person's house is not like mine, so it's not as good as mine, and I'm not going to, and bias, okay, it's not as good as yours. That's also acceptable. You have an opinion, but I want to change it and make it look like mine. Just if you think on the small level, how redundant and stupid a thought that is. So if you're a true patriot, you have to love your country as a whole. You cannot love it in parts and pieces of religion or region or language. You cannot do it.
You once told me, and it just actually shocks me how little has changed. When you were being when the Shiv Sena was coming after you for saying Pakistani should be allowed in the IPL. And I still remember those words. And you said, if this is the India we're going to talk about, religion and region and Khans and Kumars and Khannas, then India shining is just a lot of nonsense. Do you feel that today?
Yeah, I think so.
That those words have actually remained as true today, if not truer?
See, I'm considered, supposedly, I don't agree with it, I'm a marketing genius. The weaker my film is, I market it better. So the shinier you make it, you're just marketing it. It's just getting weaker, that's all. That's how I see it. Whenever I see it, chal nahi raha, let's make it glossier, let's make it shinier, let's make it better, let's make it topper, let's make it cooler. So all these words when we use, we somewhere inherently understand that actually it's not leading to when you shine, you shine. You don't need to tell anyone that we are shining. And at this point in time, if we have these kind of issues overpowering, and God bless us, at this point it's not taken over. There are enough good thinking people in this country. There's been intolerance earlier also, and we've overcome it, and we will, inshallah.
But you do feel that there is intolerance staring us in the face today?
When I read the newspaper, when I see your channel, when I see the discussions, maybe sometimes I'm not really attached to it and I don't know about it. But when you read some articles, which I make it a point to do, and I'm like, "Arey, ye kaise ho sakta hai?" Yeah, it is. Maybe, like I'm saying, I'm hoping it's very small. I'm assuming it is small, and right now it is just being talked about a lot. Good is being talked about a lot when it's small, so that people have a point of view and try to, subjugate it, calm it down, keep it quiet, because we are all Indians, and you've got India after a long struggle. It sounds maybe, I don't want to sound as if I'm telling the history of India, but I think it's important for any country, let alone India, that we should not have this kind of intolerance happening at all, even in small pockets.
Your industry seems quite divided. You've got a spate of filmmakers who've returned their national awards. But you've also got the Madhur Bhandarkar and the Anupam Kher who stood up and said they're hypocrites. How do you see writers, filmmakers, there's even scientists, one scientist now returning their honors. Have you been confronted with those kind of questions? Are you concerned enough about what's happening around you to say, I want to return my award? How do you see what's happening, this movement of award वापसी?
National award मिला ही नहीं मुझे अभी.
अच्छा तो वो ही दुख है.
पहले दो तो
फिर वापस करेंगे. But you're a Padma Award winner.
Like see that is the tolerant part of it. Like an Anupam can give his point of view about an ex-director, and they'll still meet and chat and talk, and he'll have a discussion with him. And if we can do that in the country, it's much better. Let's have a discussion about it. I think you're wrong. Why do you think? I think that. So no, I think I should be returning it, and I think it's extremely brave. It's symbolic of what the situation is, and I hope it brings a change. Otherwise, if it's just symbolism and it doesn't affect, I feel sorry for the people who've done it.
But you do think it's brave? I
think it's very brave. I think it's very. It's not brave. I think it is very. How do you say it? Magnanimous is the wrong word, but it's very. ठीक है यार, अगर तुम लोग ऐसा नहीं कर रहे तो ये भी लो यार. हम maybe at the time they got it, it was very deserving and everything was kind of all right. But their comment is that listen, let it go on like this. Don't. So the final comment is don't try to bring creativity and question it. Don't try to bring the artists under pressure because of some politics or some agenda. Don't do that. That has to be left alone in any country. Otherwise, there is an uprising, and because they have a voice. So if they've done it, I think it's very nice. I, for their sake, believe it should not go to waste. Hope something good comes out of it. And I don't think so. I mean, I can't use a word in terms of when you say it's divided, they think it's a, Anupam says X or, whoever, Madhur says Y. I think they're friends and they can say, "Mat kar yaar, ye bekar ki kaam kar raha tu yaar." This is hypocrisy yaar. They must be talking it out like that. It may sound harsh, but I think that kind of discussion is much more healthy than taking one stand and saying we're not.
But if these national award winners come to you and say, "Shah Rukh, we need your solidarity," they believe obviously they're on the right side of the debate. Would you also make a statement? Would you also consider returning your award? Would you? Which side of the debate do you weigh in on?
No, I'll be with the creative people. I think I will stand on this side, of course, because that's not because that's my world. I think somewhere down the line they're speaking a little more sense than the other side, and I would stand by them. Yeah, I mean, if they tell me to come out for a march past or go and talk to people, let's have a press conference, I'll do all that. But awards,
if they say return your award,
मुझे बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं यार. I don't. Okay.
What awards?
Okay, a couple of them I'll return. Yeah.
No,
ones
seriously.
I don't like. I don't think that kind of gesture, and I'm not shirking away from it, but I just feel that kind of gesture is not. I'm not questioning them. I think it's very cool of them to have done it. But I think personally, I don't think it's too much of symbolism for me कि ये ले लो यार, मुझे नहीं चाहिए. मैं इतना important नहीं हूँ. जो cause है वो ज़्यादा important है. मैं उसके बारे में बात कर सकता हूँ. I can have discussions about it, and I would stand by it. If somebody says, let's go on an all India strike without hurting the workers, because those are all issues we should consider, I'll do it with them very, very clearly. I would love to be part of that. I would love to lead some of it to change how the creative freedom sometimes get questioned. But just returning something, no, I'm not a believer of that. कि ये मेरा bat वापस कर दो, मेरा bat रख लो. No, I won't do that. No. Just at a personal level, I won't do it.
But I mean, an all-India strike or a protest march is also something we don't see enough people in your industry doing. How do you see what the raging controversy around the Film Institute? That's something that concerns your fraternity directly. It's not even in the political space.
I haven't followed it recently. Has it got resolved?
The students have withdrawn their fast, but the protest continues. I mean, the strike is off, but they're still resisting Gajendra Chauhan taking over, but the strike is off. If
the head of an institute, I don't know if he's the head or I've not really read up on this, but if students are feeling that there is an issue, first I think he or she should come forward and have a dialogue with them and say, "Kyun kya problem hai?" And I think it's, I personally, whatever little I know, because I was with Pritam Da, I was with some FTI students who are working with me in the film, I've been outdoors, and what I hear from them, I think they're completely on the right side.
They're on the right side.
They're completely on the right side. Yeah, of course, there will be some actions and some talk and some words which may sound wrong, but that's okay. That's a natural way of, sometimes when you are on a strike, when you are on a fast, how do you say, passions rage and they come out too open. But I think overall, I think personally, they're completely on the right side.
The students.
I think students are on the right side, yeah. And I hope it gets resolved in a way that you have people. See, I'm going to an institute to learn. I want the learning process to be the best. And it's the leading filmmaking institute of this country, of Asia at one time. I hope still is. And if the students have an issue about learning from there, in the sense they would like to come, I mean, people, poor guys and women and girls, they go spend money. Sometimes they can't afford it. They're coming from smaller towns. It's their life's dream to become a filmmaker in whatever sense, an actor, cameraman, whatever. And if they feel thwarted, that they're not getting what they really want in terms of education, I think the authorities need to really look at it and sit down and say, one second guys, not that they have to follow कि हमको ये चाहिए वो चाहिए वो चाहिए, students can also be silly, but overall what they are talking about is that perhaps they don't think what they expected from an institute of this caliber they're getting, and if they're not getting it, somebody needs to look at it and really solve it as fast, because then the institute is also going down.
See, when I hear you, you're as blunt as you always have been, but there must be some part of you that felt you got your hands burned with the whole Shiv Sena and the IPL and the Pakistani thing. Do you think today, before you take a position, do you worry that somebody is going to land up when you exit your house with ink and mobile oil and say, Shah Rukh, you just defended the right of a Pakistani co-star to act in a Hindi film, and we're the Shiv Sena, we don't want this. Do you worry about that?
No.
Because this happens. This happens today. It actually happens.
No, I think I have a little weapon. I think I'm extremely loved by people. And yeah, if somebody has a stand against me, I know there'll be enough people to love me back and stand by me. And I have that abnormal belief, perhaps, but I have that belief that I don't think, because I'm not saying something radically wrong. I'm just saying what I really genuinely feel. But you're right, many a time, especially on my social network, I think 100 times before writing something. And I'm sorry to a lot of people also. I feel very sad. Sometimes people ask me for their support for causes which are right and I should be part of it. I'm like, no, I'll stay away from this. Because also, lots of them, like even the FTI and all. I'm like, yaar, abhi main is pe comment nahi karta hu, shooting chal rahi hai, kuch pareshani ho gayi. So I'm selfish like that. And I'm not scared. I'm just selfish sometimes. And not selfish, just the nuisance that follows.
The nuisance value of somebody, yeah.
The word is not, main karoon, I think it is nuisance. I'm scared of the nuisance. I don't want nuisance. I'm a professional. I work 18 hours a day. I'm trying to entertain. I'm trying to do this better, not only for myself, but for entertainment. This is my job. I've done it for 25 years. I'm 50 years old today. And I really need to be left alone to make my job really well. I don't want, Delhi mein bolte hain, dash ka pisu. I don't want a pisu coming and troubling me. Who are you, man? Please, go away, shoo, shoo. And I don't want that nuisance. And then wo chalta hai 5-6 din. And then people who love me, they support me. And then it becomes like a rigmarole. And wo shooting reh gayi yaar hamari yaar. Jo mera core job hai. If my core competence gets questioned, if I continue doing this 5 times in a year, then it gets questioned for 30, 40 days or 50 days, which is important to me.
What's the most hurtful thing that you've actually had to hear? Like, I would imagine that it would be to constantly have to explain your patriotism. One of the things you wrote in that New York Times article that got so widely debated was, why is it that every time an act of violence or terrorism or something orthodox happens, I have to stand up as a moderate Muslim? And you've spoken about people at rallies saying, tell him to go to Pakistan, people writing this, your children asking you questions about this. And there must come a time when you say, I'm sick to death of this. Why must I be the poster boy for moderate Muslims? Why is my patriotism questioned?
Yeah, it is.
At Wankhede Stadium, I remember you never actually revealed what was said. I know you told me off camera, a communal comment, you're kept out of it, but again, it's your religion.
Yeah, and I, अब तो आदत सी पड़ गई कि अगर ये बोलेंगे तो बोलेंगे, but it's the most degrading and hurtful and disturbing. And when I had to write and explain the article that you're talking about, I did it on a, I think, on a stage when I was launching another award function, and I requested the organizers and the journalistic house that, listen, can I take this 2 moments to explain my article that I wrote? Perhaps, I mean, I don't like to look back upon things that happened, but perhaps one of the saddest moments of my life.
To have your patriotism
question. You're talking about just now, and I take a lot of things in the run of things and say, okay, chalta hai yaar, sab kar lenge, we'll deal it with humor. But yeah, that day to stand and read those 4 pages about an article or 4 page and explain to people that, listen, I'm an Indian, and that was extremely sad, and it's a very personal sadness. I can't share it with anyone. Just because you were talking about it, I didn't know how to tell you that. And just saying that does not make it all right. It's uncomfortable. It's disturbing. Why did I have to do this, man? And and like you, good thinking people will say, why did you do it? Because it's just a nuisance then. I'm here, and there were journalists and everybody, and of course most of them are my friends and they like me, but it is news right now and they have to ask me. I'm launching somebody's big function. I don't want that destroyed now. So let me explain, guys. I'm Indian. Now can as an Indian launch this function for International Audience Award? That was very sad. As a matter of fact, a few instances like this have made me change my stand at times and say, listen, let me just stay out of this. And I don't think it's a big loss.
Of having your patriotism questioned because
question,
you make a statement as an Indian Muslim.
Yeah, and you know, how can you question my patriotism? I mean, there is nothing to question about it. It's been too long. I'm 50 years here now. Yeah, come on. There's nothing to question. How can I be unpatriotic? By what standard can I be unpatriotic? I'm an Indian movie star. I'm an Indian-born Indian. I'm Indian. And how does that get questioned? Even if I go and live in China, I'm Indian. Wherever I go. How is it questionable? By a comment or a thought? And why should it be questioned? Why should not? And you know, I have platforms to talk about it. Like here, I can explain it and say, please don't question the next time. But there are a lot of people, I'm sure, who can't even explain their point of view. They were just saying it that it makes you. I feel sad having to have done that. I feel sad having to curb myself from saying certain things.
Because you feel that speaking as Shah Rukh Khan, that same comment gets viewed differently because you're an Indian Muslim. And therefore there's a different kind of scrutiny of that comment.
Yes, maybe yes.
No, I'm asking you, is that what you feel when you say it's degrading and it's happened a few times?
The degrading part is to explain myself. That, yeah, I wasn't trying to say my country is not as good as any other country, or I was talking about tolerance even between countries. And I was just saying, you know, and see, again, I'm saying it, I've got family from all over the world. My father's the youngest freedom fighter, one of the youngest freedom fighters for this country. And then having to always have to talk if there is an issue, if there is a riot, and there's a Hindu-Muslim riot, then I have to take one other stand and say, look, this is okay, we Muslims don't believe in terrorism. We don't.
But why do you have to say it every time?
Yeah, why do you have to say it? We don't. Me being a Muslim, I can't terrorize my 2.5-year-old child. He terrorizes me. I mean, we are not terrorists. Yeah, there is a whole section of people which have misused that part of religion and done it. Does not. But then वो ऐसा बोलते हैं ना, एक मछली तालाब को गंदा करती है. So I guess you have to live with it. But having said that, I am not one of the machlis. I mean, I can't be one of the machlis.
How do you explain it to your kids? Because, you know, mixed marriage, different faiths, and then you have your patriotism question, you have people saying just go to Pakistan. This is the other new thing, that on Twitter you express an opinion, people don't get, please go to Pakistan.
वो तो यही बोलते रहते हैं सारा दिन. माँ बहन की गालियाँ देते हैं, बहुत गंदी गंदी गालियाँ देते हैं, और मैं दूसरे प्रोग्राम पे बोला, अभी भी बोलूँगा, नाम बता दो, टेलीफोन बता दो, गालियाँ मैं आके वापस दूंगा तुमको सामने मुंह पे.
सच में?
100%. एक बार नाम टेलीफोन नंबर बता दो, एड्रेस बता दो, तो घर से उठा के ले जाऊँगा, और या घर में आके मारूंगा. दूसरा, मेरे को ऐसा कि वहाँ भेज दो इस कंट्री में, यार मुझसे ज़्यादा इस कंट्री में रहने का हक किसी और को नहीं, ये मेरा बिलीफ है, और उतना ही हक आपको भी है, और उतना ही हक इनको भी है, और सबको है, जितने भी लोग देख रहे हैं. सो प्लीज स्टॉप टेलिंग मी go away from here and settle down somewhere. I'm not going. Even if you push me out, I'm not going. This is I always say this is a country where my father fought for the freedom, and he gave me a piece of it, so I'm very proud of it, and I'm not giving away what my father gave to anyone or leaving it any which way. So please shut up. I mean, that's it. Bottom line, shut up. Really, keep your mouth shut before I keep it shut for you. I hate it.
How do you explain it to your kids?
I don't know. I think they've seen me going through this, and sometimes they've asked me, but what's happening? I said, some idiot is saying this, and now I have to control it, and this will happen. And maybe because I'm famous, and you know, when you are a public figure, you have to be open to the pros and cons, but Allah's given us more pros than cons, so we have to take it in our stride, and it's all right. And as a matter of fact, even I think sometimes, because it happened a few times, I think somewhere the decision to send our kids, by Gauri and me, to study abroad is also this, that at least don't be in the thick of things, but you know, the atmosphere sometimes with security and everything can seem strange to young kids, and be there. Of course, now they know everything everywhere, there's no information lag anywhere, but still not being here perhaps is a better education for them. And
but you're saying that one of the reasons that you sent them abroad is so that they didn't have to deal with the hostility that sometimes comes your way.
Not only the hostility.
On account of your religious identity, or
no,
in general?
No,
in general.
In general, also just being a star. Just being a star. You have to hear so many things, you know. Just going to school and somebody doesn't like my film, and in perhaps a school here, they would have more voluble people saying things like, "Tere dad ki picture kitni gandi thi." No, you can get it riled with this. I hated the film that your dad acted in. Can hurt you. Or your team lost. Shah Rukh Khan is a failure. So maybe my stardom, my public presence is not so much, perhaps in England or elsewhere. So they can get away with it. I mean, I go there, they all know me, they recognize me, but perhaps it's not as intense on a Friday or...
Do you find the tokenism of the three Khans as a secular narrative of India irritating?
No, that's really
it's kind of banal, right? That
Absolutely.
You pick up these three people and you say, okay, oh, here's proof we're secular. But then the underbelly, if we are so secular, then you'd be able to make a comment about Pakistanis in the IPL without being questioned for it.
And not only that, I mean, the fact that we have to say that, because three Khans are ruling the roost or whatever they call it, triumvirate, the fact that we have to keep on talking about it means we are not secular enough. I mean, we don't need, like you just, we don't need Khan shining to prove that India is shining in secularism. I think when we don't need names and plaques to explain that's why. ये देखा यहाँ पे ये भी होता है देख रहे हो वो उनके घर में आज वो ईद की क्या करें अपना रोजे खोलने का उन्होंने फंक्शन रखा है लेकिन वो खुद जो हैं एक्चुअली हिंदू हैं and why shouldn't you do it? You're with your neighbors, please go ahead and रोजा रखो रोजा खोलो अगर तुम्हारा दोस्त है क्या फर्क पड़ता है इन बातों से उसको उसका एक पब्लिक थिंग बनाने की जरूरत जब नहीं होगी तब हम सेक्युलर होंगे मेरे घर में हम नहीं बनाते देखा आज मैं दिवाली की पूजा में बैठा था कितने सेक्युलर है मैं बैठ जाता हूं और अगर नहीं भी बैठता तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है घर के अंदर कि ऐसा नहीं है कि पूजा में नहीं बैठते उनको कुछ नथिंग लाइक दिस हियर इफ आई हैव टाइम आई कम एंड डू इट सिमिलरली ऑन ईद वी रीड नमाज एंड Gauri can join in. Her family comes sometimes and just stand respectfully. They don't know how to do the namaz, but they stand respectfully. And it's not like, thank you, auntie. It's okay,
It's normal.
It's normal. It's cool. Yeah. It's not like I was very touched, auntie, that you stood behind the namaz. It's okay if you didn't, and if you did, and it's all right. I mean, that is being tolerant and accepting.
It's converted into a series of token gestures, and that tells its own story.
I mean, I'll be very honest. It's never been told by my wife, however strange it sounds and whatever. I didn't say we have to circumcise our children because I'm Muslim. She's done it on her own, and it's cool. And if she hadn't done it, that's cool too. And I was okay with it. So we've
you were okay with it either way.
Either way, I'm okay with it. And मैं उनको ये नहीं बोला. And like I said, I've said this before. We do everything in the house which normal people do in terms of religion, festivities, and without ever questioning it. Without ever. I think if you're in the creative field in whatever measure, I think creativity leads to a little more secularism. I truly believe that, because you're reading a lot, you're writing a lot, you have a point of view, you're educated somehow, even if you haven't gone to a school. And that's why I keep saying, if we start curbing creativity, you're actually going to create more unsecular people in this country.
So let me ask you in the end, what is the most annoying question you've ever been asked?
Thank God you didn't ask me. मैं 50 साल के हो गए. अभी आप romantic role करते रहेंगे? The answer is yes. I will. And you'll मेरे को जो रोल लगेगा अच्छा मैं करता रहूँगा. I will not curb myself. कि मेरे को I was telling you. Yes, told me they ask you your age because you're a romantic hero. It's okay. I'm extremely romantic at 50, and I'm really sexy and cool at 50, and I can still do the hands like this, and I can still do the cartwheel. And more than that, more than anything else, I can dignify a lady to such an extent that she can fall in love with me. And that's what I think romance is. Romance has got nothing to do, I can do the poems, I can talk about Chand Sitare, I can do the dance, and I can sing a song. I think the only way to romance a lady is to dignify her to such an extent that she will fall in love with me. I think that's what love is and romance is.
Long live the dimples. Many happy returns.
Thank you very much.
Shah Rukh. Thank you.